The village in it with a map and a plan. No place too tiny for this determined man. Crossing the counties one by one, he'll see in every English corner a bit of history.
Welcome back to Rushcliffe again, folks. Now, a while ago we saw the village of Cropwell Butler, which is up this road here, and in that episode we mentioned this place a few times because really one village can't exist without the other. They are inextricably linked together. This is the beautiful little village, or hamlet if you will, of Tithby. Tithby, Tiddy's village. We continue through Rushcliffe today with the village and parish of Tithby, located just to the east of Cropwell Butler. Now, we already know a bit about this one thanks to the Cropwell Butler episode, but there's a little more to uncover now that we're actually in it. Tithby, which is sometimes spelt with a Y as opposed to an I, is known to the locals as Tithby. Together with its neighbour, Wyverton Hall, the two share an annual parish meeting. It has 6 listed buildings, one of which is the phone box. Generally speaking, it's made up of largely farms and farmhouses, much like other local villages such as Colston Bassett, Cropwell Butler, Cropwell Bishop, Langer and Barnston. It's predominantly residential, the only building that's not being the church, dating back to the 13th century. Remember, the church is the one used today by Cropwell Butler's residents, purely because that village now lacks its own. As well as being the main religious centre, it memorialises a man who single-handedly improved the lives of thousands of Nottinghamshire folk, SirWIlliamCrane. The roof of its tower is nicknamed the Tithby Dovecote, even though there is no actual dovecote here. This isn't Sibthorpe after all. No, instead it's a true reflection of rural Nottinghamshire life. Picture a small group of farms surrounding a church, place them on a crossroads in the middle of the Nottinghamshire fields, and you have Tithby. It sounds good to me. Let's walk and see if it truly is. Welcome to Tithby, a small, pretty little place in the heart of rural England, typical of the sort of well-out-of-the-way Nottinghamshire village we've met so many times before. Even though it's small and relatively peaceful, lots of cars travel through Tithby. The mind boggles a bit as to why, really. It's not on a main road, it has no shops and no pub either. The only real landmark of note is the church, but I doubt many people are coming here to visit that. They perhaps should though, but that's by the by. On the motoring theme, one of the best landmarks in the village would be this wonderful AA road sign at the central crossroads. I think this and the lovely old-fashioned street lamps dotted around the village give Tithby a sort of old-world charm. It feels like you're walking around in a place that's stuck in the 1930s, and that's not a bad thing. Adding to that, it seems to be a place that modern developers have passed by. Tithby has no major housing estates with brand new residents flocking to them from all 4 corners of the country. It is, therefore, somewhat ironic that this is the final resting place of a man who was knighted for building literally thousands of new houses and improving the lives of the Nottinghamshire working classes. SirWIlliamCrane was elected as chairman of the Notts Housing Committee in 1919. Over the next 38 years he pushed forward with plans to demolish old slum housing and move the inhabitants into brand new council houses in Aspley, Bilborough, Broxtowe and Strelly. People were overjoyed to have spacious homes with indoor bathrooms in a more salubrious environment. He didn't just give them a new house, he gave them a healthier life. He now lies here in Tithby, and there's a window dedicated to the memory of his mother inside the church. They call that house Swedish Cottage. To be fair, it's absolutely spot on because it looks like something out of Scandinavia, doesn't it? This road here is Dovecote Lane. It's a dead end and it runs into a farmyard. There is a footpath which you can use to get through the farmyard, which we're about to do. Here is the church. It was originally built in the 13th century, although it was substantially rebuilt in the 18th, hence the Georgian furnishings inside. It's in the early English style, and it's Grade 1 listed. Its rather odd looking tower is fairly modern except for the buttresses, and it wears a pyramid cap. That fact gives it its nickname, the Tithby Dovecote, based of course on the similarly shaped roofs seen on actual dovecotes, like the one at Sibthorpe. From the 14th century come the nave arcades, the priest's doorway, the lovely ironwork on an old chest, and the font, even though the latter is dated 1662. That's the date it was restored after being cast out by the Puritans. Being so close to Warrington, it's no surprise that the Chaworths have had some connection here. They were lords of the manor for a number of years. In the churchyard is a cross to Lena Chaworth Musters, and the church has several other Chaworth-related monuments and memorials. We already know a bit about Sir William Crane, but the church has another window which memorialises James and Mary Butler Smith. By extension, it echoes connections to one of Tithby's earliest patrons, Matthew de Villiers, the Baron of Warrington. It was he who gave Tithby Church to Thurgarton Priory in the 12th century. His daughter and heir was Beatrix de Villiers, who married Richard de Boteler in 1155. He held the post of butler to the Earl of Chester, and if this is sounding familiar, well, it should. We talked about this very same subject at the end of the Cropwell Butler episode. I told you, the two places are heavily linked. A more recent memorial is the one to Flight Lieutenant Graham. He was the son of Major General Sir Miles Graham, a former resident of Wyverton Hall, of course. He was part of the 617 Dambusters squadron who took off from Woodhall Spa in 1944 to breach the Dortmund-Ems Canal near Munster. They failed to bomb the target and were returning home when they were attacked by a German fighter plane. They lost 3 engines and had to bail out when a fire broke out in the fully loaded bomb bay. Yeah, it is definitely Dovecote shaped, that tower, isn't it? It looks quite quaint, if I have to admit. It's unusual. It's unusual, shall we just say that? Okay, before we leave Tithby behind, because there really is nothing else here, we have to put one of these cards on the notice board just to officially confirm that we have been here. So, there you go. Card is going on the board. I can get it in, which I can, just about there. There we go, Tithby done. I love coming to places like Tithby, ones which have very little in the way of landmarks and nothing much to speak of. It makes exploration that little bit more important, and what you find out sometimes is nothing short of mind-blowing. Great little place this. We're staying in Rushcliffe over the weekend, so I'll see you back here again tomorrow. Now, just before I go, remember, this video is part of a huge project to visit every civil parish in England. That's more than 10,000. These routes are pre-planned, and due to time constraints, I can't cover every detail or walk down every street. Please don't complain if this video missed something out. I pronounce names how I choose to. I am very aware that local dialect may vary, and I don't take kindly to criticism about this. You've been warned. It's impossible to know everything too. If this video was terrible, make your own. If you're a regular watcher of The Village Idiot, you're not the only one. If you've got a small business, why not use my videos to advertise it? Leave a comment below if you're interested. And finally, thanks for watching this episode, everybody. Give us a like and a subscribe if you've enjoyed this episode, and share it with your friends and relatives. It all helps to keep this mission going. Until next time, I've been Andy, also known as The Village Idiot, and I'm out.